And we back again. So let's go ahead and read 8 through 14, and then we'll go ahead and reason about that. It's not as long as part 1. Verse 8. And he took the scroll, and when he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding a harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set apart ones. And they sang a renewed song, saying, You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain, and have redeemed us to Elohim by your blood out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and made us sovereigns and priests to our Elohim, and we shall reign upon the earth. Very important. And I looked and I heard the voice of many messengers around the throne, and the living creatures and the elders, and the number of them was myriads of myriads and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb, having been slain, to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and respect and esteem and blessing. And every creature which is in the heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, I heard saying, To him sitting on the throne and to the Lamb be blessing and the respect and the esteem and the might forever and ever. And the 4 living creatures said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and bowed before him who lives forever and ever. So we're going to start with looking at verse 8. The scroll was taken. The living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb to worship him. Each of them were holding a harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set apart ones. This is very important to understand, because we're told to pray continuously, to pray non-ceasingly, okay? And just being transparent, I know for myself, this is something that can stand to be improved, okay? To have a spirit of prayers poured out, because this is what has to. Let me go here. Let's go here. Let's look at Zekaryah chapter 12 real quick. I didn't really think of that until now, but this is very important. That's verse 8. We've got Zechariah 12. And we're going to look at verse 9 and 10. Because this is what's going to take place. It says, And it shall be in that day that I seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Why? Because that is the Father's throne on earth. This is where his throne is established. Okay? This is where his kingdom is centered, right here. Verse 10, And I shall pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of favor and prayers. Okay? So this cup of incense, this bowl of incense, okay, golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set apart ones. This is because Yah has poured out on Israel, even those who are Gentiles who have grafted into Israel, a spirit of favor and prayer. So our prayer should be offered up continuously. We should have a spirit of prayer upon us, okay? And they shall look on me, now listen to this, whom they pierced, the Lamb, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and they shall be in bitterness over him as bitterness over the firstborn. So it's interesting that that spirit of prayer is tied into seeing who this Lamb is. There's a connection, an intimate connection between the spirit of prayers and the revelation of who Yahushua is. Okay, it unfolds into the understanding of this prophecy and into the keeping of the commandments. Okay, because those two matters there are the secret to overcoming: keeping the commandments, the testimony of Yahushua, and the spirit of prayer, which unites those and allows us to walk victoriously into the kingdom. Okay, and to be agents of bringing this kingdom into reality. That is what this is about. Okay, so this is why these prayers are offered up. It is to assist us in this journey. It's not a magical matter. It's just a focused matter, beseeching the Father for favor so that we can accomplish these matters according to his will and with his providence and protection, okay, and his promises. This is what this is about, okay. So now we look at verse 9, and you see a renewed song being sang. A renewed song. Some say new song, some say renewed song. Now, what song was sang after a great deliverance was wrought and Israel was redeemed from the earth? You look in the book of Exodus in the 15th chapter. We're just going to read the first 2 verses. The 15th chapter of the book of Exodus, chapter 15th chapter, verse 1 and 2. It says, Then Moshe and the children of Israel sang this song to Yah, and spoke, saying, I sing to Yah, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, the Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Okay, so that is one of the songs of Moshe that is sang after a deliverance. Okay, so this is after deliverance, but we have to look at this other song because we got to consider it all. In Deuteronomy 32, that is more of a warning. And we're going to read the first 10 verses of Deuteronomy 32. It says this, Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Let my instruction fall as rain, my speech drop down as dew, and fine rain on the tender plants, and as showers on the grass. For I proclaim the name of Yah, ascribe greatness to our Elohim, the rock. His name, his work is perfect. For all his ways are right ruling, and El of truth, and without unrighteousness. Righteous and straight is he. A twisted and crooked generation has corrupted itself. Their blemish, they are not his children. Do you do this to Yah, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who bought you, who created you and established you? Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and let him show you, your elders, and let them say to you, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel, for the portion of Yah is his people, Yaakov, his allotted inheritance. He found him in a wilderness and in a wasted, howling desert. He encompassed him. He made him understand. He watched over him as the apple of the eye. So, his allotted inheritance and his portion. Okay, that is what Hilkiah means. Again, Hilkiah means the inheritance of Yah, or the portion of Yah. So we can go back to this and how Yah has raised up this inheritance through his son. Okay, so this is what this song could also suggest as well. So it's either one of those 2 songs. You know, some argue it is Exodus 15, some argue it's Deuteronomy 32. It is one of the other. Okay, I'm thinking more it is related to Exodus 15 because it is right after the deliverance. Okay, Exodus 32 is the warning for them to enter into the land and what they need to be mindful of as they enter into the land. It may be both. You know, it may be. I do not know, but I'm just presenting the information to you so that you can look into it yourself and gain a deeper understanding of this song that is saying that is a renewed song. Okay, it is either Exodus 15 or it is either Deuteronomy 32. Look it up, find it out, pray for the revelation of it. Okay, but this deep thing is that as a result of Yahushua working his matters and finishing and completing his duties, the bride has to also do the same thing, complete her duties, so that we can be made sovereigns and priests to Elohim, and then we shall reign upon the earth. So let's get this notion of heaven out of our mind about it not being on earth. I just want to go to heaven. Well, you got to put some work in, one, based on your faith, and 2, going to heaven is going to be here on earth, a geographic location. Okay, and that is going to issue forth from Jerusalem. And when I say heaven, I'm talking about the kingdom. Okay, the kingdom is going to be established in Jerusalem. Okay, and this is where we sovereigns and priests will reign from. Let's look at Isaiah 61. We're going to read the first 6 verses. Isaiah 61, 1 through 6. Here we go. The Spirit of the Master Yah is upon me. Now, this is what Yahushua stood up and read. What's called a Haftarah in the synagogue one day and said that this reading has been fulfilled in your hearing this very day. But this is a regular occurrence. Moshe is read, the Torah is read every week in synagogue. The prophets are read every week in the synagogue. Okay, so when he stood up and read this, he was just following the protocol of Israel, of being an Israelite and a Yehudi. Okay. The Spirit of the Master Yah is upon me, because Yah has anointed me to bring good news to the meek. He sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim release to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yah and the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all who mourn, to appoint unto those who mourn in Zion, to give them embellishment for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. And they shall be called trees of righteousness, a planting of Yah to be adorned. And they shall rebuild the old ruins, raise up the former wastes. And they shall restore the ruined cities, the waste of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the foreigner be your plowman and your vine dresser. But you shall be called priests of Yah, servants of our Elohim shall be said of you. You shall consume the strength of the nations and boast in their esteem. Instead of your shame and reproach, they rejoice a second time in their portion. Therefore, they take possession a second time in their land. Everlasting joy is theirs. So again, this comes back to this title indeed. They go back to their land. Okay? They take possession a second time in their land. This is the restoration of the children of Israel to their land. They receive the title and the deed to their land to once again build houses and purchase land. That's what Jeremiah 32 is talking about. This is why this rejoicing and this praise is so important, because upon the earth, haaretz in Hebrew, when you hear that, the land, I mean, that's talking about Israel. You have to read this and understand that as relates to this matter of reigning upon the earth. Just to confirm it, let's look at Isaiah 2. I gotta add this to it to make you understand. We're gonna look at verse 3. Many people shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of Yah, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov, and let him teach us his ways, and let us walk in his paths. For out of Zion comes forth the Torah and the word of Yah from Jerusalem. So this lets us know clearly here that from Zion and Jerusalem, one and the same, the Torah and the word of the Most High will be proceeding. Okay, so this is why reigning upon the earth is so important. So he looks now and he sees myriads upon myriads and thousands of thousands standing before this throne. Okay, let's look at Daniel 7. We're going to go to verses 9 and 10. Daniel 7, verse 9 and verse 10. So it reads as follows. It says, I was looking until thrones were set up, and the Ancient of Days was seated. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like clean wool. His throne was flames of fire, its wheels burning fire. A stream of fire was flowing and coming forth from his presence, and 1,000,000 served him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judge was seated, and the books or the scroll were open. The scrolls were open. This is because this is the line of Yehuda now. Okay, he's conquered, and now he's worthy to receive this scroll with 7 seals, which when broke, and we're going to read this in the next couple chapters, is going to have a lot of devastation on earth, because these are the judgments, these are the woes, these are the lamentations, these are even the curses brought to earth as a result of them changing and breaking the Torah. But he's calling them to repent. Okay, again, this is all about a call to repentance. It's not going to touch Israel. These curses, these woes, these plagues, these lamentations, these mournings are not going to touch Israel if they are faithful. Much like in Egypt or Mitzrayim, when these 10 plagues were smacking these Mitzrites, Goshen was untouched. Israel is going to be untouched. The people in the land is going to be untouched because God's favor is going to cover and protect them. Okay, Zechariah 12. Read Zechariah 12. So we look at verse 12 now. Worthy is the Lamb, having been slain to receive power and riches and wisdom. Okay, strength and respect and esteem and blessing. This is because of what? His obedience. We're going to turn to Philippians 2. We're going to read 5 through 11. In looking at the master, though, we have to understand he is our example. And in order for us to overcome, we have to do what he did. And that is to deny ourselves even unto the death. But if we read and understand this particular passage here in Philippians, I think that we can start to put it together a little more and find ourselves more faithful. Okay, more faithful. Not having faith, but being faithful, which is an active matter. And having faith is just a matter of mind and heart. Faith without works is dead. So faithfulness, we have to be faithful. We talked about that in a lesson a while ago. Okay, so Philippians 2, 5 through 11. For let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahushua, who being in the form of Elohim did not regard equality with Elohim a matter to be grasped. Okay, but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, and came to be in the likeness of men. And having been found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, death even of a stake. Elohim therefore has highly exalted him and given him the name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahushua every knee should bow, of those in heaven and of those on earth and of those under the earth, and every tongue should confess that Yahushua Mashiach is master, to the esteem of Elohim the Father. Okay, so this is, again, when we read verse 12, worthy is the Lamb, having been slain to receive power. This is why the Father esteemed him, because of his obedience even unto death, and death of a stake, because that was considered a curse. When you read Deuteronomy 23, I believe, in verse 22, it talked about cursed is everyone who is hung from a tree. So we know what our situation is as well, as far as how our ancestors were hung. But that is the body of Mashiach that was hung from trees. Okay, his body. They did the same thing to our master. They did the same thing to us. Okay, they tried to desecrate his image, which is the Father's image, who the Son came to completely reveal to us. So again, that is the mind that we need to have as well. Okay, and so now verse 13, it says every creature which is in the heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as in the sea. So all creatures are now recognizing the sovereignty of their true king. And the earth is once again united. The earth is once again harmonious. It's in the book of I think it's Zekaryah again, by Yom Hahu Yihiye Yahuwah Echad, by Yom Hahu Ushamo Echad. So it says, yeah, by Yom Hahu Yihiye Echad Ushamo Echad. So that means in that day there shall be one Yah, and his name shall be one. Okay, so this is the oneness that creation has come back under right here. Okay, because now again every creature which is in the heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea. So when you go back in Genesis and you read each was made according to its kind, and how they came to Adam and were named, it was because there was a harmonious relationship that was established on earth that is going to be restored. And to him sitting on the throne, and to the Elohim, to the Lamb, be blessing and respect and esteem and the might forever and ever. So let's close out with Daniel 7, verse 13 and 14, because the 14th verse of Revelation 5 is pretty much self-explanatory, but we're going to go and look at it. Daniel 7, 13 and 14. I was looking in the night visions, and saw one like the son of Enosh, coming with the clouds of the heavens. He has his witnesses with him. The presence of Yah is with the Lamb and the people. And he came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And to him was given rulership and preciousness and a reign, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His rule is an everlasting rule which shall not pass away, and his reign that which shall not be destroyed. So that is Revelation 5 and verse 13, seen in Daniel 7 verse 13 and verse 14. And now we close with the 14th verse. And the four living creatures said, Amen. The 24 elders fell down and bowed before him who lives forever and ever. They offer themselves to him because he is worthy to receive their praise and their esteem and worship. So that, my friends, is Revelation 5, which is again the reclamation of the title and deed of earth, particularly of Jerusalem, given back to his inheritance, his portion, his allotment, which is Yaakov and his children, so that the kingdom of heaven may be established on earth, and the word of Yah and the Torah proceed from Jerusalem and Zion, so that the earth is restored back to its original fashion. This is what Revelation 5 is all about. Okay, this is the victory of the lion and the lamb, and it's also the victory of his people and his sheep. Okay, and how we are to rule with him and in him and through him and because of him, and make this earth and this world a better place. And this is what this all comes down to. We have to get rid of unrighteousness first within ourselves. We have to get rid of injustice. We have to get rid of corruption. We have to get rid of all these things that are found first and foremost in us, so that we can be the true ambassadors and representatives and envoys and emissaries and plenipotentiaries of the kingdom. He's not dealing with any sin whatsoever. So we have to find ourselves free of sin as well, and make sure that we are obedient and observant of this Torah and guarding it with all of our heart, soul, and strength, and loving the Father most importantly. We have to love the Father. That is our motivation to obey the commandments. As Mashiach said himself, if you love me, keep my commandments. He was quoting his Father in Exodus 20. I do believe it's verse like 4 or 5. You know, the Father has favor and compassion upon thousands to those who love him and keep his commandments. This is the third commandment. And so, man, it's a beautiful day. I mean, despite all the different tragedies that are going on, it is still light to be found, and light to be shared, and light to be received. I pray that you all are receiving these words, and that you're investigating them and trying them and proving them, whether or not what is being spoken has validity and truth as according to the word. And I just pray that, you know, we're all seeking to grow and all seeking to apply these words to our life, so that we can become that image which we were truly made to reflect. And so with that, Yivarechecha Yahuwah vayishmerecha, Ya'ar Yahuwah panav alecha vayechnucha, Yisa Yahuwah panav alecha vayisam lecha shalom. May Yah bless you and keep you. May Yah cause his countenance to shine upon you, be kind unto you. May Yah lift up his face unto you and give you peace, one love. Shalom Alechem.